Welcome back to Marta's Planning Mess. I'm going to give you an update on some new layout ideas that I've been pondering. I'm still very happy with this. I will still commit to using this for the rest of the year. It's really not broken. But because I love this size so much and I saw some new layouts using this size, I've kind of decided that this week I'm going to try it since I have a little bit more space in this book, I finished it off for the end of June. So these two will be like a companion for the year 2025. But anyway, what I was on Pinterest and I saw some Hobonichi Week spreads where they took this horizontal planner and they used it vertically. So basically, they just rotated it like this. The dates are still on the bottom. They use this section to schedule their vertical appointments. And because I don't have as many breakups and appointments in the day, I think that could work for me. But anyway, we'll see. And then they use this top part and they had all these really cool creative spreads for like to-do lists, etc. And so I was kind of like, oh, that's really nice. Now I wouldn't do another Hobonichi Weeks just only for the fact that they waste the space by this quote here. So it would be, if I decided to do this, I would use a sterling ink planner instead, a horizontal planner to do it this way. But anyway, it does give you this area that when you have a vertical planner, you miss out on to do stuff like that. And the reason why this is kind of tempting to me is because in my B6, I've dedicated, let's go to the weekly section. I've dedicated this bottom section to my to-do lists, and it works fairly well. It's not super visually appealing, but it works. But anyway, I kind of wanted a little bit more space. So before I had seen the layouts in the Hobonichi Weeks, I have always known this is not quite what I want. It works, but it's not like the perfect thing. And so because I have plenty of space back here, because in my journaling section, I am not using a full page per day. Like sometimes it's even just a little space. So I've got plenty of pages. And so I had decided, hey, let's do some nice pages like I did an August spread and some cute to-do task lists. I haven't really used that much, so I probably in the future would not do this here and I would just start journaling. Or maybe do like a weekly spread. But anyway, I decided this week to give myself a 2-page weekly spread just to kind of experiment with having some more room for like planning, brainstorming, brain dumping. That's one thing that I don't have a place to brain dump when I just use the vertical spread. So anyway, I do like having my week listed. And so I did that, and I used this for this week. We were traveling back from dropping my girls off at school, and so I normally do my meal prep and planning on Sunday, so I didn't have the things I normally do that with, so I did a lot of that there, gave myself a groceries list here. I don't usually put that in my planner. I mean, that's not really something I feel like I need to track and hang on to. But anyway, I gave myself a chore list there and a to-do list here. So, I don't know that I would need a double spread like this for the week. I could probably get away with doing one. But anyway, it was intriguing to me. Well, in the process of doing this, I don't know what it was that made me think of it, but I remembered back to my bullet journaling days before I discovered Hobonichi and Sterling Ink and all of these really cool brands, that I would do a Dutch door setup where I could have more than one spread for each week. Now I was doing this in bullet journals, so I was dating everything myself and figuring all that stuff out on my own. I could make it however I wanted, but I suddenly realized that the one thing that has made me kind of stray away from this book, because they don't make this in a 6-month 2-part set like they do with this book, is that I toyed with the idea of just buying 2 of these every year and using one for the first 6 months and one for the second 6 months. But I wouldn't use up all the weekly spreads. And not that that's wasting that is like the end of the world, but because there's 12 months worth of spreads, I could technically use 2 spreads per week if I did a Dutch door system. So because this book, though I am done with it for the year, I do have extra room in it to mess around. So that kind of was eating away at me. And then I thought, well, since I have extra room to mess around, I could also try the vertical Hobonichi Weeks setup. So I've tried both setups here, and I'm going to walk you through how those work. And I'm very pleased with how this is looking. I won't use this for the rest of the year because I don't have enough daily pages left in the back. But let's just take a look at that for anyone that's pondering this idea. So here we have, this is the week that we are in. And so I filled it out. I did my whole spread like I would do of, where time blocking everything, and then kind of in my free time, what chores I thought I could get done in that amount of time. And then I took a pair of scissors and I cut all the way across to here. So I cut across, and I have a little rounding edge tool, so I made that a nice round edge. And then I took that piece and I glued it down on this side. So no matter which page you're on, you're still seeing all the days of the week the way they are. Now, if I were to truly do this for the rest of the year, I couldn't necessarily do that. I would probably either get an undated or just redate them, because obviously the next week is now glued together, and when I turn the page, I'm already in September. So I would have to figure out, something other than that. But for today, that worked fine. So here's my second weekly spread, and this gives me a space for, like, miscellaneous could be a brain dumping area. Here's a long to-do list. I could make it a running to-do list where I had space for every day to kind of indicate which day I got my chores done if I want to do that again. This is the mood tracker that's set up exactly like I do it in the B6, same amount of space. So it has to be 8 columns wide. So you can see that's the big difference. You lose 2 columns each when you go to an N2 from a B6. And then I also gave myself a section the same size for like chores that I want to assign to specific days. So I could scoot that down easily and have plenty of room to maybe have a big section of something up here that maybe a chart I wanted to do. I could give myself another section going this direction of anything that I wanted to be kind of, maybe meals, although I don't tend to meal plan in here, but it's just an idea for other people that might work well. So anyway, I put my weather thing here. I did not fill it in because I don't need to track that in multiple planners. But anyway, that's my 2-page setup. So yeah, this book could potentially work for me for next year. And I'm kind of excited about that because I do really like how small this is and how convenient it is to carry around. Okay, now let's go to the back here because I also did the vertical Hobonichi spread. So here's the page where that is. So rotate 90 degrees this direction. Now, because I didn't have it written in on the bottom like it would have been if it was printed in as either a Sterling ink or a Hobonichi Weeks, I just opted to put it on the top for today, but it could easily have gone on the bottom down here. So I divided it up. You see my dotted lines. That's 3 sections. They have 5. Are they 5? No, they're 6 high, and they cover 5 hours worth of the day. So starting at 5 a.m. and going to 10 a.m., 10 to 3, and then 3 to 8. So I blocked out work, the things I have planned for the week, when I want to exercise, and it just gives me a very small but quick view of what my daily schedule is like, blocked out. And then up here, I had room to give myself a to-do list. I drew this line here in case I wanted to do a running to-do list where you've got your days of the week here on the top that you indicate when you check things off. I got my same mood chart and chore chart that I had from the other one, same amount of space, and then another miscellaneous brain dumping section. So in theory, this could work quite well as well. So 2 ideas of kind of using these in a different way than they were designed to use. I don't know. It's giving me some stuff to think about. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to work best for me. I may still stick with this guy. I think the one thing, now that I'm thinking about it, as I'm trying to explain it to you, I'm troubleshooting some things. I think the only negative thing in my plan to do with the Dutch door is the amount of free pages. So let's see, how far does it go in this book? The last page, there's 119. So if we, rounded that up to 120 and used the back side here, we would have to do 3 days worth of journaling per page plus to get an entire year's worth of journaling to fit in the back of this. So, man, where this one has 182. So this one has a page per day. Now I could probably, if this had 182, I could probably fit, and it is smaller. I could probably fit my journaling in there. So that's kind of a damper. Now you could get this as instead of a compact as a full year, but then again, that makes it twice as thick, and that's a little more book than I want to carry around every day. So maybe I've kind of talked myself out of that idea, but hey, it was fun to figure it out. And you know what? Time will tell, because we will see how much of this space I actually use. I might end up with half of these pages just being sitting around. Now that's after half a year, not a whole year. And do I don't know. How much of this do I need? How many of these pages do I need for journaling at this size? Another option that just crossed my mind as well would be getting a B6 Slim compact vertical. That would give me a little bit more space. It's halfway basically between these two. And it would give me a little bit more journaling space in the back, a little bit more real estate. So maybe I could get it to fit in 119 or 112. What was it? No, 119 pages. I don't know. Time will tell if there are enough pages back here to journal where I could make this work. That seemed like such a perfect plan. That's why this is my planning mess, because it doesn't always go as you plan. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to. I need to finish my temperature chart because I still want to see what that looks like for the full year. I will do that at some point. But yeah, those are some of the ideas floating in my head. Maybe it gave you, some ideas of what you can do for yours, some creative spreads, some alternative spreads that you hadn't thought of. You may not need as much space for journaling. I mean, I don't use a ton of space for journaling. So, it may still work. But that's kind of where I'm at in this process. So I hope it's helpful, and thanks for watching.